Hello, what's up guys? I'm Kyle from KGR, and this is the Jakks Pacific 2.5-inch Charmy. Yes, 2.5-inch, because they didn't make a 4-inch one, and I don't know if they ever will, to be completely honest. Because this figure came out in 2022, so it's been over 2 years since this figure has come out. And there's still no 4-inch Charmy. And I spent, I think, $60 on this figure just to do an unboxing video for it. To be completely honest, it was the cheapest one that I could find. Like, every other listing I saw had it for at least $100. So I guess I'm happy I got it for cheap. But some people got this on clearance at Target. So, I don't know. I spent way too much on this guy. So we're going to compare it to the Jazwares version whenever we get to that point. But let's take a closer look at the figure real quick. So we got Charmy in the bubble packaging itself, looking as great as he can be. And then on the back, this says Boing Toys. This is not on the box normally. This is like either from a distributor or whatever toy shop it came from. I have no idea. But it's saying how it's Charmy, 7 points of articulation, and his little bio says, armed with his signature jacket and sharp stinger, Charmy is the essential backbone of the Chaotix detective agency. It's funny to think about that. I think he probably is the only male character that, like, wears clothes. Interesting. But they don't talk about his cute little helmet or his little goggles or whatever. No, it's just his jacket and just having a little stinger. But they do show off other characters in the little wave, and it would be nice to get some of the little badniks in there. So I think eventually I might try and grab those. I'm not sure if I'm going to do videos on them because I don't think it's that important, but eventually I might get them. So now that we spent $60 on this item, this is a collector's item. This is a collectible. We should cherish. There we go. There we go. So the rest of this is just trash. But there's our little Charmy that we spent $60 on. But let's get a closer look at him real quick. You can see how thick his little legs are. I think that's so silly. I don't think they should be that thick. I think they could have gotten away with making the legs a little bit thinner and still having articulation and still be somewhat durable. I like how the wings are actually articulated, so you can flap them if you want to. And his little antennas are a little bit bendy as well, so you don't have to worry about accidentally dropping this and breaking this thing all too easily, because the Jazwares one is very fragile. Thankfully, mine never broke. So, whew! But yeah, for the 2.5-inch figure that he is, I think he does look fine enough. When it comes to scaling, I'm not sure. We'll get into that part a little bit later. But I think this looks fine. I think this looks good. Now, should they make a 4-inch version? 100%. I don't know why it's taken over 2 years to do it, but please do it. So I guess there's not really much to really cover on this guy. That's Charmy. That's who he is. So I guess let's compare him to some of the other figures we have in the collection. So first, let's compare him to the Jazwares Charmy. Because as far as I'm aware, I think this is the only other Charmy figure out there. And the scaling is completely different. And to be honest, I'm pretty confident this would scale much better with the Jakks Pacific figures than this guy. But I'm just going to deal with it because this goes in my Jazwares collection. I can't separate that. I like how with the Jazwares figure, the wings are translucent, while these ones are not, but that's okay. Although the goggles are painted differently on each figure, I think they both look great. Same thing with their little antennas. The Jazwares figure has torso movement, but you can see how it like just cuts into the sculpt and it doesn't look all that good. I think it would have been a better call to like do it like right under the jacket, like actually have it at an angle, but what you gonna do? I like the more closed hands rather than these giant open hands. I think they both look great. I feel like out of the two, I prefer the Jazwares one, mainly because it's bigger, and so it has a better attention to detail. Like, look how small the logo is on this jacket versus this. I don't know which one's supposed to be more accurate, but like, I feel like this looks a little bit better, maybe? I don't know. Actually, no, I think the stripes are more defined on the Jakks Pacific one, so they each have their pros and cons. They're both decent figures. This one is probably going to be a lot less fragile, but I'm happy to have both. But I wish that the shoes were detailed like on the Jazwares. That would have been a nice attention to detail. But if they eventually make a 4-inch version, there's always room for that. So Here's hoping they actually do it. But now if we compare him to like other figures, like we got Espio right here, and then we have Vector. He does come across very, very tiny. Yeah, I feel we are absolutely desperate for a 4-inch Charmy. But as of right now, this is going to be a decent enough placeholder for now. But I think it would be fun if we had him displayed with the other figures. Then we could have him like flying on a little stand next to them so he doesn't look as out of place. But I don't know about the fact that Espio can like easily just like hold him in his hand. But that's silly to me. I don't think he's supposed to be that tiny. Again, these are different scale figures. Like it's not meant to be compared directly to each other like that. But if Jakks Pacific isn't gonna give us a Charmy, then this is what we got. So please come out with one this year. Please. So you saw how this guy compares to their other Jakks Pacific figures. Now let's compare the Jazwares figures all next to each other. Personally, I think the scaling is all over the place. I think it just looks weird as a whole. However, this Charmy figure in this set was exclusive to a 3-pack, where it came with even a different version of Espio, where he came with his little kunai. This Espio, however, is from the comic pack, and this is the one I personally prefer, so that's why I have that in the collection. However, I do feel they definitely look a lot more appropriate all next to each other versus how we only have the 2.5-inch Jakks figure next to the 4-inch Jakks figures. And because while we're here, let's show off the Jazwares Charmy with the other figures from Jakks. And it definitely looks better, but it's not perfect. So I think a proper 4-inch Charmy would absolutely do the toy line wonders. I think it would be a great job. Should they make it in an exclusive 3-pack like they did with Jazwares, or should I just release Charmy just by himself? Because I'm pretty sure they're probably just going to do that. A part of me is happy that I have it, just so I'm like, hey, I finally have the placeholder. And you know, like, I don't want to say FOMO, but like, there's always going to be an itch in my head. If I don't have this figure in the collection, it would always bother me. Like, I wonder what it would look like in the collection. But now that I have it, I'm like, eh. But like I said earlier, this is a 2.5-inch figure, not a 4-inch figure. So this is meant to be compared with other 2.5-inch figures. Even though scaling-wise, it's not supposed to match. But they're all meant to line up next to each other just to make themselves look like a decent collection. So scaling is going to look terrible. But here it is. I typically don't collect the 2.5-inch figures. I do grab a few of them every now and again if they're cute or anything like that. But I do love the Chow figures. I feel like if I had a Vector or an Espio from the 2.5-inch line, I think they would look half decent next to each other. But it would still look a little bit too big. But these are the 2.5-inch figures I have on hand. So this is how it looks next to them, I guess. So a part of me is like, hey, it's complete. Yay. But another part of me is like, come on, give us a 4-inch one, please. It would look so much better. It doesn't even have to be the full 4 inches. It just has to be within that same scale, and I'll be happy. I know I mentioned in a previous video saying I don't care about scaling that much, but if it's as drastic as that, then it does bother me. But like, if it's just a little bit too tall or too short, then I'm like, eh. But this, I'm like, I don't know, man. It doesn't blend in very well. But there's not really much else I gotta say about this little Charmy right here. Don't get me wrong, he's cute. I'm happy to have him, but right now he's stupid valuable because of the fact that this is like the only Charmy figure within Jakks Pacific. But as soon as they drop a 4-inch one, I'm pretty confident the value on this is gonna absolutely plummet. But then the price of that Charmy is probably gonna reach the prices of this one right now. So I hate toy collecting sometimes. It gets awful, but I still buy them because I'm a sucker and I love Sonic toys. But that's going to be it for this video. So if you're new and you like what you saw, you know what to do. In the description, there's going to be my link tree as well as possibly some places to buy these. Good luck. I went on eBay to get this guy. If you can find it for 50 bucks more or less, then cool. It's still way too expensive, but you pick your battles. But anyway, thank you for watching. I love you guys to death. Now I'll see you on the next one. So peace.